First of all, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sherry Brown. I serve as Vice President of Community Impact here at the Community Foundation of Broward. And today we're really excited to share with you more detailed information about this amazing Be Bold $1 Million prize that will be awarded in our community in the coming months. Before I get started, we do have a special guest on the call, which is our president and CEO of the Community Foundation of Broward, Jennifer O'Flannery Anderson. And I'd like for her, if she's on there, to welcome you all and share some words about the Be Bold Prize and why it's important for this community at this time. So also joining me in this presentation is my colleague, Angelica Rosas, and she will be a part of the presentation reviewing the application. What you can expect out of this presentation is first, we're going to give an overview of our economic independence focus area, where we've identified some of the biggest challenges facing our community given the pandemic. Then we'll review the objectives of the Be Bold Prize, and we'll discuss what we're looking for and the types of projects and types of organizations to apply. And then Angelica will review the application form, as I stated. I will review a laundry list of FAQs that we think you might have, and then we'll also open it up for you to ask your own questions. So since 1997, the Community Foundation of Broward has supported basic needs to aid struggling Broward residents. So the issue of economic independence is not new for the foundation. But in 2016, we redefined our focus and launched economic independence as one of our 10 issues that matter. And our work in economic independence really shines a spotlight on the crisis faced by Broward's working people, who are now known as the ALICE population. ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. And every couple of years, the United Way, they publish an update on the ALICE population for each county in Broward County, each county in the state of Florida. And Broward County remains to be one of those counties that the statistics point towards the ALICE population not only improving in certain areas, but overall the stats remain the same, that they're still struggling and trying to maintain economic independence. So our goal with economic independence is to give working people hope, dignity, self-respect, and the opportunity to be able to achieve the American dream. And our focus is to help people gain employment so they can earn a living wage, enabling them to afford and maintain housing, as well as provide other necessities like transportation, childcare, and healthcare for themselves and their family. So as many of you know, Broward County faces many, many challenges. We are one of the most cost-burdened counties in the nation, with exceptionally high rents and limited affordable housing options. And prior to the coronavirus, at the height of the economy, more than half of Broward workers were employed in hourly, low-wage service sector occupations. And Broward's high cost of living, paired with the high number of low-wage income earners, has resulted in people living paycheck to paycheck and being one emergency away from spiraling down into despair in many cases. For many, the emergency came in 2020 when the pandemic hit. Unemployment skyrocketed in Broward County, as it did across the nation. And since the pandemic, the fragile financial well-being of millions of families was upended. And now we're looking at more than ever, workers, especially those who are in the service, hospitality, tourism, retail, and healthcare industries, experiencing unprecedented levels of instability, many suffering job loss or struggling to support themselves and their family with either low-paying jobs, temporary jobs, or part-time jobs. So the events of 2020 demonstrated that also the Black and African-American and Hispanic communities are dealing with a dual pandemic, both the COVID-19 and the continued systematic and systemic racism and injustices. So on top of all of these health impacts, they're also bearing the brunt of the economic burden. So when we look at all these issues and kind of package them up, the foundation stepped back and said, wow, with these challenges upon us, how can we step into the community in a bigger and bold way? And that is where we decided to launch the Be Bold Prize. We actually employed the assistance of a consultant to do national research to uncover if there was any other type of bold initiative happening across the country to help get people back into the workforce. And we actually did not find any model that we could replicate. So we created our own model for the Be Bold Prize. And with this model, we have several objectives that we are seeking to achieve. We recognize that now is the time to make change and to really change the narrative around poverty and race as well as opportunity. And it requires bold action, and it requires innovation to move us beyond just traditional workforce development programs to expand the potential for transformational community impact. So we are encouraging our community to look at the workforce in a whole different light. And how can we think as a community innovatively on how we re-employ those who have been impacted by the pandemic? So we launched the $1 million challenge, which we are calling the Be Bold Prize, to be a catalyst for new ideas and solutions that will help as many Broward County residents as possible who have been displaced from the workforce due to the coronavirus, especially people of color, to gain stable employment within the next 2 years. Now, I just saw Jennifer pop on. I know she is traveling right now, but I would like for her to add her commentary about the Be Bold Prize at this time. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be with you, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate your interest in this initiative. We are really trying to do something bold and different. We're trying to use more of a business lens to hopefully finding some innovative and creative solutions to getting our community back to work as a result of COVID and of longstanding discrepancies and bias in our society. So we're looking to you for some creative ideas, and we want to be supportive in every way. So we're happy to listen and learn, but we are treating this very much like a partnership and like a big investment. So our board is really committed to this, and we want to really be an example for others to follow. That's one of our goals, is that how can we be an example? How can we scale this to other communities and other places and cities and states, and how can we replicate it and grow it and be supportive of the networks and systems that already exist. It's no way our attempt to subvert what is already happening. It's just a way to spark and invest in something that maybe a traditional organization couldn't be able to do. So thank you for your willingness to be part of it, and thank you for all that you do for our community, especially during this time. It really, really matters. So thank you. And thanks, Sherry.
Thank you, Jennifer. Your timing was perfect, actually. And Jennifer will have to log off because she's en route to a destination. So when she logs off, we'll miss her, but we'll keep going here. So again, thinking bold, we see that there are many, many people. I think the count here is about 68 people on this call. And so we are compelling all organizations who are on this call, whether you're for-profit, nonprofit, government, think bold and think big. And we are looking for you to submit projects that have a high potential for measurable and sustainable impact to increase economic opportunity for residents to be employed. That is the gist of the Be Bold Prize. One winning applicant will receive a $1 million prize to implement their innovative idea or solution. And you will be measuring your results over a 2-year period to determine success. So think of this as a pilot project, if you will, in some ways that, if it's a new project, because we're looking for new projects as well as projects that are an expansion of an existing project, and you will have the opportunity to really, go deeper, go further in an existing project than you originally have been, and measure those results. So we are looking specifically for new and significant, okay, and I accentuate significant expansion of existing projects or efforts. And this is, of course, to make sure that people who are displaced from the workforce due to coronavirus are back in the workforce. We are asking that you focus specifically we're giving priority to those that focus on employment of people of color who have been impacted the most. And as I mentioned before, statistically, Blacks and Hispanics have been impacted the most from the coronavirus in terms of the health aspect, but also in terms of the workplace displacement. So we're looking for applications that have a focus on that population being reemployed, but it's not to the exclusion of other populations. So just know that it's not exclusively people of color, but we are looking in those applications to really be very specific on percentages or numbers of projected people of color that will be employed. That will be a priority that the judges will be looking for. And then we're looking for projects that have the potential to be scalable and sustainable beyond the 2-year grant. As Jennifer stated, we're hoping that whatever your brilliant, innovative idea is, that it has the ability to go beyond 2 years. And we would expect that you're so excited and you're so invested in the solution that you proposed, the idea that you proposed, that you're out there canvassing, supporters, funders to support that project beyond the 2-year mark, or even within the 2-year mark, because I'll get to that in the Q&A in terms of the budget for the projects and et cetera. But you need to be so excited that you're out there knocking down doors and saying, OMG, this is the best idea ever to get our Broward residents employed. So you have to be your own best champion for your project. And of course, if you're the winner, we're going to be your champion as well and try to attract partners to support the work within the 2-year period as well as beyond the 2-year period. And we're looking for projects that can be set into motion very immediately. Ultimately, we want you to get people back to work as quickly as possible. I think if a person is employed, they're not, and what we've heard is that people who need to re-career or gain different skill sets, they necessarily don't have the ability to wait 2 years to get a degree or 10 months, without income before they can get the job. They can't sustain themselves. So you got to think about some of those factors with the populations that you're serving that, how are you addressing some of the gaps they're going to experience as you're trying to get them back into the workforce, especially if they need to be reskilled or re-careered, because we are looking for people to be in a job immediately. Okay, so let's be very clear about that. This is not about a training. We're not looking to fund a training program in isolation of the individual being employed. Okay, training is a means to an end. The end result here is employment. So we want to see in your proposal that you have a really good handle on individuals getting back to work as quickly as possible. So I want to make sure that you're very clear on that. If you're thinking that you're just going to submit a training program proposal or an education only proposal, scratch that thought. Save your ink, your typing, because I know the judges will not entertain a training only or education only focused program. It's about getting people into jobs. That's the challenge here. That's what the prize is about. And I want to just make sure that you're looking at the criteria that that's outlined in the RFP, right? There's like 2 pages in the RFP, and I want to point out, if you're on this call, then you're going to get the hint. What are judges going to be rating your proposals on? It's going to be based upon how well you articulate responses to the questions on pages 5 and 6 of the RFP in the areas of innovation, community impact, collaboration, commitment to equity, the reach of your project within the community, organizational capability and sustainability. I'm not going to read all the questions that are already in print there, but I want you to know that when you're submitting your application, responding to the questions in the application, that you need to make sure you're addressing each and every one of those questions within the application in these areas that are mentioned here. That is a huge hint for you. And when Angelica reviews the application, you'll see, I think we tried to make it very easy for you to not miss responding to any of those questions. And we want concise answers, because I project we're going to receive lots of proposals. So we want to make sure that, we're not reading just pages and pages of narrative. I'd also like to say, be careful not to restate what we already know, because we put the frame around the issue in the RFP, so we know what the problem is and what the issue is. Only enlighten us of what we may not know as it pertains to your idea, okay? But you don't have to give the background of the issue itself, because we already know what the issue is. That's why we have the RFP out. So that's the really big hint here, is that each of these areas, you really should pay attention to what we are asking you to respond to, because that basically is the rubric the judges are going to use. So that's your big tip off here. Now, what I'd like to do in the RFP, we have a page about eligibility, and I am not going to repeat what is already stated there about eligibility. Instead, what I'd like to do is review FAQs, because the FAQs will clarify, I think, some of the questions you might have about the entire RFP, as well as the eligibility section. And I don't want to be redundant in speaking with you. So does my organization need to be a 501c3 to apply for the Be Bold Prize? The answer is no. Your organization does not have to be a nonprofit, tax-exempt 501c3 organization to apply. The prize is open to any organization that meets all of the other eligibility requirements, including, a variety of types of entities. So you can be a nonprofit, you can be a for-profit, you can be a government entity. And your question might be, well, why? Why are for-profits and government allowed to apply? Well, this reflects our desire to encourage new and innovative ideas and collaboration outside of the traditional workforce development programs, so that we could hopefully see a more transformative and immediate impact in the community. So we believe that good ideas exist in all entities and organizations. So we did not want to limit it to just nonprofit 501c3s. We do believe that a part of this application will be collaboration. That is where, if you're a for-profit, you might seek collaboration with a nonprofit 501c3 for numerous reasons, according to whatever your idea is, as well as if you're a government agency. So no limitation there. Now, we do have criteria that will help us vet your organization if, in fact, you're not a 501c3. So we do have policies in place to ensure that we conduct the proper due diligence for non-501c3 organizations. So the next question, does my organization need to be based in Broward? Well, the answer is no. While we will give preference to organizations located in Broward County, organizations outside of Broward can apply, as long as the organization can demonstrate a track record of high quality programs and the ability to get a significant number of Broward residents employed. So the applicant needs to share what their connection is to Broward, and really explain why they're interested in and connected to Broward, and really make their case why, if they're not based in Broward, why they should be selected based on their brilliant ideas. So we just want you to explain yourself if you're not a Broward-based organization. And And again, if you're not based in Broward, your application could be stronger if you do partner with Broward-based agencies. I will say that, because I would imagine the judging panel might question, well, how will they reach the community? What outlets will they use, et cetera. Our marketing team at the foundation, we've actually publicized this RFP nationwide. It's hit the PR wire across probably about 100 different channels. So there is interest beyond Broward County in this initiative. Third question: can individuals apply? You're an individual, you have this really great idea that you think could work. Unfortunately, the answer is no. An individual, like a person, cannot apply. Individuals can't be lead applicants, but if you're connected to an organization and have a brilliant idea, then maybe share that idea with that organization and have that organization apply, and you're a part of the strategy, the implementation strategy. But an individual cannot apply. Sherry Brown can't apply, even though I may have a great idea. I have to be within the context of an organization, and that organization must meet the eligibility requirements and have the capacity to implement. Number 4, can my organization submit a joint application with another organization? Can my organization submit a joint application with another organization? The answer is no. Only one organization can serve as the lead applicant. However, collaboration with organizations is highly encouraged and should be explained in your proposal. So only one lead. It has to be a lead applicant. So like you can't be a joint applicant organization. You can't be, for example, Jack and Jill and Susie Q's Child Care Centers submitting jointly. One has to be the lead applicant, okay? The next question you might have: can my organization submit more than one application or idea? The answer is no. Organizations may only serve as a lead applicant on one application, and only one idea may be submitted per application. However, you can serve as a collaborative partner on another applicant's proposal. Okay, so for example, if you're Jack and Jill Daycare and you're applying, your own idea, own submission, own application, and then let's say if Susie Q says, hey, I'm applying too, but I have this different idea, but I think, you would be a great partner, that you could be, Jack and Jill could be a partner on the Susie Q daycare application. So you can still partner on other people's projects, but you as an organization can only submit one application and one idea. How are you assessing an organization's commitment to equity? Okay, really good question that some of you may have. Priority will be given to solutions centered with a racial equity lens due to the disparities in opportunities and access that are caused by the structural and systemic racism that is rooted in our society. The Be Bold Prize Committee will assess whether organizations use race and other forms of identities to understand these challenges and create forward-thinking solutions. So we'll determine that based on how you're narrating or explaining your focus on racial equity within your application. Okay. So that will be the assessment of that. Some of the things that will be looked at is your organization's diversity as well, and diversity implementation of your project. How do you define people of color? And we know that is a really broad category here. And so while a person of color is primarily defined as any person that is non-white, the focus for the Be Bold Prize is increasing our economic opportunity, specifically for Black and Hispanic communities that have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic. So we know that that's people of color is a huge, huge category. but we're looking at the data and we want to be able to move the needle on the data points for Black and Hispanic populations. So there is a budget requirement in the RFP, and a question you might have is like, well, why is there a minimum organizational budget requirement? Well, this reflects our desire to ensure that we're going to support organizations that have the capacity to propel transformational change forward in Broward County. And we try to assess this, by the size of the budget, although that's not the only, test to that, but, budget size. We also look at, how long the organization has been in existence and the organization's experience in managing grants as well as sizable grants. So this RFP may not be the best fit for emerging organizations because you just don't have the track record of fiscal management of a sizable grant. So again, my response to this is similar to, can individuals apply? Think about who you might partner with and have them as a lead applicant in your a part of their, the project. But as an emerging organization, you just came to exist, December 31st, 2020, and you're applying, you probably are going to not be the best fit for the prize based on the financial test. Do in-kind contributions count towards the 25% match? Because we do have a match requirement, and we all know why match requirements are requirements in many grants. It's because we want to ensure that your organization is also invested in the solution. And so in-kind is definitely a question that we always get. And so the match can consist of a combination of cash and in-kind contributions, whether cash or in-kind. It needs to be directly tied to the project and not your 25% match if it's in-kind going towards just general organizational expenses. You have to be able to demonstrate if it's in-kind that this in-kind is directed towards the Be Bold Prize project or initiative. Okay, so it just can't be just like a random 25% match applied across the entire organization. Next question, can we submit a project that costs less or more than 1 million? Did I miss a question? I'm sorry, I missed a question. Can a portion of the prize be used to...
Do you have a second or are you busy? No, I'm on a webinar right now.
Please put yourself on mute.
Everything okay?
Yeah. Go on mute.
About the accident that everything back in July.
Pablo, mute yourself, please.
Questioning the medical claims of the person.
You're on mute now.
That's not helpful if I'm on mute, right? Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate that. Can a portion of the prize be used to fund staffing costs and administrative overhead? Really great question that you guys might have. And yes, a portion can be used for staffing and administrative costs that are directly tied to the proposed initiative. Okay, so just be very clear, in your budget, what each budget line item is being directed towards, because we will, we go through the budget with a fine-tooth comb. So just make sure any budget items are directly related to the project. So we do get it that you have to cover some overhead costs and so forth. Can we submit a project that costs less / more than $1 million? So the Be Bold Prize is a $1 million funding award, and we expect that the winning project will be of that magnitude, that you will submit this big, bold $1 million idea. And the project may cost more than $1 million, but we are only awarding $1 million. Okay, that's the maximum that we will be contributing to the project, but it very well could be a $3 million, $5 million, even a $10 million project. So we don't have a cap on, what the total budget is for the entire project, or that you have, but you do have to demonstrate, how the 1 million that you will receive from the foundation and its partners will be used to accelerate and advance your project. Okay. And you can explain, of course, all that in the budget. Let's see what's next. What constitutes a formal third-party evaluation? Because that is a requirement. And can the cost of the formal third-party evaluation be included in the budget? So a third-party evaluation evaluator is either an individual evaluation consultant or a firm that specializes in program project evaluation. And the evaluator is an impartial person or entity, and they will analyze and collect the data about how the grant-funded initiative, the Be Bold initiative, meets the objectives and the goals, and they will interpret it from more of a neutral, objective perspective. So the cost of the evaluation can be included in the budget and covered by a portion of the prize that you will receive. This might be relief for some of you that, you're not having to staff up to do the evaluation, but having a third party evaluator being a part of this work is going to be critical for you and for all of us and for the community. Because again, as you pilot this over a 2-year period, the data will be informative in terms of continuing the project as well as attracting additional supporters for the project to continue. Okay. What are expectations regarding reporting from the Be Bold Prize winner? So of course, we don't want to wait to the end of the 2 years and say, okay, how's it going? So we will require that you submit quarterly progress reports and provide qualitative and quantitative data on how the project is reaching the goals. And then of course you have a final report at the conclusion of the 2-year funding period. And then you might be asked to participate in periodic meetings, with the foundation and its partners to discuss the project. We find that that's very helpful, that we are engaging with you as you implement your project. We don't believe in any surprises. If there's something that you thought was going to go in one direction and then because something happened and it has to shift into a different direction, we want you to feel comfortable and be very candid that, hey, this is the shift we need to make, this is the adjustment we need to make, and this will enable us to achieve our goals and outcomes for this work with the shift. So know that we're the type of funder where we understand that things happen, and a proposal is just that. It is a proposal, but as long as the core of what you're trying to implement and accomplish is maintained, then we can work with you if you have to make adjustments. So please don't, if you win the prize, don't be fearful of communicating with us if there are any challenges. The next question, if we are selected as the winner, how and when will the funds be awarded? So the winner will be announced at the end of May, around May 31st. And then the first installment of the prize, which will be $500,000, will be awarded by June 30th, around and about June 30th. We have to do the contracts and things like that. But if all goes well with the contract process, then by June 30th, we pretty much can make the award. And then the second installment of $500,000 will be awarded a year from that point, okay, which will be June of 2022. And again, your follow-up payment, your second year payment is contingent upon success of the project, and satisfactory progress of the first year. So know that that's always a contingency in the contracts. If we are a current Community Foundation grantee, can we apply? Yes, of course you can apply. No limitations on that at all. And then, of course, if you have any questions, can you contact the foundation? Yes, you can always contact me, Sherry Brown, or Angelica Rosas at the foundation. We're still working on a hybrid remote schedule, so email works best if you're trying to reach one of us, and we will certainly respond to you as quickly as we possibly can. So those are the FAQs, and it might be helpful, I guess, if maybe we'll post these on our website, and that way you'll have them handy.
For bearing with me here for a second. And so my name is Angelica Rosas. I am the Strategic Grants Manager here at the Foundation. And I just wanted to share a couple of brief things about our Filnet online application, since y'all are so excited now about what Sherry has shared, and you want to go ahead and apply for this wonderful Be Bold prize opportunity. So if you have applied for a grant from the foundation previously, you will know that our online portal sometimes can be a little quirky. So I'm going to share for you how you can directly access the application, also then how you can access an application when it's in process, and some other wonderful important information about the application in Filnet. So let's start with, and I'm going to turn on my little laser pointer here so that you can follow along. So if you go to our website, that is, of course, the easiest way to access our application, but you can also create a direct access to the application via any of the emails who have gone out. You see this wonderful banner here at our website, and you click on the Learn More icon. That will then take us to our Be Bold prize page that we have available on the website. You're going to scroll down all the way to the bottom, and you're going to click here to apply. That will take you to our wonderful Filnet page. You're going to get this screen regardless if you're trying to directly access it or if you're going to log in to access an existing applications. What I wanted to point out to you guys that is really important is if you've never used Filnet previously and you are a brand new applicant, then you have to create an account. And in order to do that, you're going to have to click on the itsy bitsy tiny link that says new applicant. It's down here. And that will help you create an account. However, if you are an existing Filnet user, you simply just input your email and your password and you're good to go. If there's been transition within your organization and you do not have access, but you know that somebody previously had access to Filnet, you can go ahead and email me, and my email will be available to you on a slide towards the end, so that you can reset the account. The only thing that I need to know is what was the email that this account lived under previously. So you're now logged into the application, you're under direct access. And so this application looks a little bit differently than what any of the other applications have looked like if you have applied for a grant at the foundation previously. So you can tell here that there are several different tabs that you need to complete. We are starting the application off with an executive summary. And so as you can tell here, most, if not all of the fields under this particular application is required information. So if you don't have these fields completed, then you're not going to be able to submit the application towards the end. And I wanted to just highlight one of the points that Sherry mentioned earlier, that when you're submitting your responses, make sure that you keep your answers clean and concise, just like it says on the application form. Try not to elaborate, and that we're looking for the scoring panel is looking for a balance in between clarity and brevity. And so with that, that's that. I am going to talk to you a little bit about the attachments tab, because we are requiring a lot of different attachments. And like I said previously, if you have used our online application form previously, we're not looking for the same attachments. We're not using what we love to call our beloved budget bundle. We're not using the CFB, their foundation's timeline. You're using your own documents. So I'm going to get to that in a minute here. But down here, what I wanted to point out, if you just wanted to type in your organization's name and you're going to move along, then just go ahead and down here, press save and finish later. Or if you want to fill it all out, then you just go ahead and click next. But when you press save and finish later, everything will be saved and you can come back and access this information at any time. So, one more thing I wanted to just share before we move on here. Just be mindful of the word count. There is pretty much a word count box for most of these answers here. So after you click save, you're going to be taken back to this screen, which is your home page on Filnet. And if you wanted to start a new application, which you don't want to because you already did that, this is where this information resides. And I'm going to bring you back to this one more time later. But what you need to really remember is that your saved application is sitting right down here. You have to scroll all the way down to know that this is where your saved application is. You need to go back and click on this to continue working on it. Because if you don't, and you click up here, you're just going to start another blank application. And I'm going to get phone calls and emails saying, what happened to my saved application? So always be mindful, scroll down and continue working down here at the bottom. If you're not happy with it, you can click the garbage can and you can delete it. Or if you want to share it with some other members that are working on this product where you're at with the application, you can go ahead and email it to them. Just click the email icon. Okay, so we're back to attachments. So I know that this page probably looks very different than for any of you guys who has been on the attachment page previously. Know that there's different requirements for different entities. So go ahead and pay attention to what is required if you're a nonprofit. You need to have certain documents uploaded that are required if you're a nonprofit. If you're a for-profit entity, we're looking for these particular uploads. If you happen to be a government entity, then these are the areas that we need you to upload. And if you have any questions about any of these, Sherry and I are of course happy to guide you through that process because this is different and unique. So these are the initial required documents. And then you have all the additional required from all applicants, right? And so one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I highlight for you guys, especially if you're a new user to Filnet, that you have the drop-down menu here. See here, it says current operating budget required. If we follow this arrow up here, you'll see these are all the different choices that you have to when you're matching your attachment to upload so that you can make sure that you have met all of the things that you needed in order to be able to submit your application. And if it says required, you need to make sure that you have those at least, because if not, you're not going to be able to submit the application. And so you choose your file and then you click upload. And this is the most important information that I needed to share with you guys in regards to the online application and Filnet. So just wanted to throw this out there to you guys. So we have the direct access to the application, right? And so many times I get emails and phone calls from organizations who keep clicking that same direct access link. So I wanted to make sure that I point out to you guys how to just log into Filnet without going through the direct access application. So again, you go back to our website, but this time click under the nonprofits tab. That will then take you to our nonprofit section. And you just keep scrolling down, and that's where you're going to see how to access Filnet. And I apologize that our website are not set up with a direct click to access to Filnet, but unfortunately, it is what it is. So there's a couple of extra clicks that you have to do. But then you get to the Filnet page, and you make sure that you click on the page for nonprofits and grantees, and then choose the login option, obviously. And now you're back to that same screen. Remember this one from before? So now you just go ahead and now you've already created your account. You know how to get into Filnet. So you enter your email and your password and off you go. And now you end up in this screen. And now you have the opportunity to either go down here to number 2 and say, here is my Be Bold application. I'm going to continue working on it, or I didn't really like what I started putting in there, so I'm going to start a brand new one, and I'm going to click here and be on my way. So that is essentially how you figure out how to access everything. And so that is all I have to share with you guys. And I'm going to type my email address in the chat so that everybody has it. But is there any questions that I can help answer before I can't really see what's going on in the chat. So you're going to have to unmute yourself if you want to ask an application question, or if not, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
I was going to ask you, can we, after you put your email, can we ask you to share this PowerPoint with us?
We can make this PowerPoint available to either on our website or via follow-up email. We can make sure that happened to all of the attendees. Right, Abigail? Okay. Yes, we'll make sure this will happen.
We also have a recording too of this whole presentation.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so if I don't have any further questions about the application process right here, I'm going to stop my screen share. I'm sure you've had enough of me and my technical challenges already. So very nice to meet you guys. And I'm going to turn it back over to Sherry, and I'm going to drop my email in the chat box.
Okay, thank you, Angelica. Great job. Timeline is here on the screen. And this is what we're looking at here. We launched the applications early January, and they are due by noon on April 9th, okay? I don't know what day of the week that is, but by noon on April 9th. Once we receive applications, just to give you some insight, what we normally do is review all the applications and ensure that you have all the required attachments and letters of support or whatever the requirements are. We do a scan to ensure that if you're a 501c3 organization applying, that you're legitimately structured in IRS, in the portals and things like that. So we do this whole due diligence on those applications. It takes us a few days to get through all of that. And once we get through all the basic review, the judges will then receive the packets, and they will have a couple of weeks to review. And then if you make it as a finalist, you will have the opportunity to be involved in the interview with the judges. And the judges panel is an outside panel of the foundation. There may be a couple of foundation board members or team members involved, but basically these will be leaders in the community and business and industries and across different sectors, entrepreneurial type individuals who will really give a great perspective on your proposals. And we're excited because we've already had a couple of people in the community to agree to be a judge. And no, I can't give you their names, unfortunately, but it will be a highly esteemed panel of judges. So you get a chance to pitch your project to the judges on May 11th. So you might want to just save that date, on your calendar, if you will. And then once the pitches are done, they'll again rescore or score the applications and submit them to the foundation. Our board has to approve them, and then once approved, we announce the winner on May 31st. Now, what can implode this timeline is if we don't get this big, bold, innovative idea, initiative, which I doubt. I'm highly doubtful that will happen. But, if we don't get it, then we'll have to just kind of regroup and decide where do we go at that point. But we're hopeful that you guys have some brilliant ideas out there percolating. And that's the question I have for all of you, because that concludes the presentation. We can go into FAQs, and that way I can stop sharing the screen. And by using the reaction, like little thumbs up thing, give me a thumbs up if your organization plans to apply. You have this amazing idea, this incredible, bold idea, and you're like, we're going to go for this. We think we have a good shot at this. We have an amazing team. at the table. We're going to make sure we're crossing all our T's and dotting our I's. We have some partners in mind. Give me a thumbs up again, because you guys are on a couple different screens. So I was trying to scroll through the screens to see. Okay, good, good, good. All right, excellent. So we have several thumbs up, great. And we're so grateful to you for taking interest, and I do wish you the absolute best in submitting your proposals. We are looking forward to something really incredible to result from this Be Bold Prize initiative that will be transformative for Broward County in getting our residents back to work. Thank you so much.